win?
KSTP, St. Paul, Minneapolis.
Minnesota sports fans, we've been through a lot together over the years. We've taken our lumps and earned our scars. From 41 donut and wide left to knuckle push-ups and wide left again. We've developed some pretty thick skin around here, and we're the only fan base that can recite heartbreak by simply stating the year in which it happened. But Minnesotans have a certain resilience, a toughness about us. We absorb winter so we can bask in the summer.
Randy Moss has 3 catches, 3 touchdowns. And we'll see you tomorrow. Give it up to the WNBA champion, Minnesota Vikings. The Twins and 1. James, sideline, touchdown, unbelievable. Vikings win it.
As to what's ahead, you'll hear it here. SKOR North. Minnesota sports. Anytime, anywhere. SKORNorth.com.
Hey everyone, it's Phil Mackey here to announce some major exciting changes at 1500 ESPN, beginning right now. For starters, we've got a new name now, SKOR North, and an expanded menu of Minnesota sports content across multiple platforms. You'll be able to find SKOR North live and local on AM 1500 between noon and 7 on weekdays, starting with a daily Vikings show every day at noon called Purple Daily. Then you can hear Matthew Coller from 2 to 4, Mackie and Jeb with Rami from 4 to 6, and other specialty shows in the 6 o'clock hour. We're also expanding our digital content in a big way over at SKORNorth.com. That's SKOR North.com, where in addition to great written content, you'll find some of the most entertaining local sports podcasts, like Purple Podcast with Matthew Coller, Sage Rosenfels and company, Raised by Wolves, Touch 'em All, The Scoop with Doogie, Myron Medcalf on Hoops, Royce Unchained, The Crafty Rogues, and plenty more. As for social media, expect a lot of fun and creative stuff on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all of them at SKOR North. That's SKOR North. So give us a follow, Minnesota sports fans. Check out our shows. Give us your input and ideas as well. And tell your friends that SKOR North is here. Minnesota sports, anytime, anywhere.
SKOR North. Minnesota sports. Anytime, anywhere. SKORNorth.com.
Now on to Purple Daily with Matthew Coller and ESPN's Courtney Cronin.
TCL is a proud sponsor of the SKOR North Studios. TCL, America's fastest growing TV brand. It's Purple Daily.
All right, a very exciting day here on the AM dial on 1500. Thank you all for tuning in. This is the all-new SKOR North, no longer 1500 ESPN. This is our new name. This is one of our new shows, one of 3, sort of. I will have my own general sports talk show coming up 2 to 4, and then Mackie and Judd with Rami is 4 to 6. SKORNorth.com is the new website, and we get to kick off with our new daily Viking show, Purple Daily. So a lot going on here on the station. I, Matthew Coller, very excited to be with you. Courtney Cronin from ESPN and I will be doing this Tuesdays, but Purple Daily will be hosted by a combination, a mix mash of different hosts throughout the week. Myron Medcalf also will be included in our lineup as well, so we're very excited about that. Great to have you in, Courtney, for day 1, hour 1 of SKOR North.
This is a monumental moment in my career, kicking something like this off. I mean, we're going to look back in this 25 years from now and be like, we were the first show.
We were, yeah. And the very first moments, we'll be talking about Gary Kubiak, as we expected. Actually, we planned for the whole 6 months to be talking about Gary Kubiak to start. I just want to say we will have Adam Thielen, Minnesota Vikings wide receiver, at 12:15. So he's going to come up shortly here. We're going to talk to him about what they need to accomplish this offseason and how he can continue to build chemistry with Kirk Cousins. And then at 1:30, former NFL quarterback Sage Rosenfels, who is my Purple Podcast co-host, along with Courtney as well. We mix co-hosts. And Sage played a lot for Gary Kubiak and has a good relationship with him. So we're going to learn more about what he thinks of Gary Kubiak joining the Viking staff. But let me ask you that question first, Courtney, to start off our Purple Daily show here on the all-new SKOR North. You get the first comments on Gary Kubiak joining as an assistant coach and offensive advisor.
It's an interesting move. It's a move that absolves Mike Zimmer of having to be as hands-on as he wanted to be, or as he said he wanted to be with the offense, because you have a veteran voice, a Super Bowl champion coach who's been in this situation before, and he brings his Denver Mafia with him. I mean, he's got his son, Clint Kubiak, who was here in 2013-14 as the quarterbacks coach, Brian Periani, the tight ends coach. As of right now, the offensive line coach is still up in the air, but Rick Dennison would make sense considering he's been part of that Kubiak crew in a number of different stops. So it's interesting in the fact that Kevin Stefanski last week, assuming the offensive coordinator role on a full-time basis going forward, what this means for him, I think, is what we're going to be debating all offseason, because we probably won't hear from Mike Zimmer about this until the combine to find out what Kubiak's actual role is. Senior offensive advisor / associate head coach for the offense, something like that. I mean, there are these made up titles that they give coaches in the NFL because you want that voice in there. But I'm curious as to what the power structure is going to look like, the play calling structure, who's going to be making those decisions. That gives us a lot to talk about this offseason, because certainly they made this move because they felt like they needed that experience. They needed that veteran leadership to help Kevin Stefanski, an inexperienced play caller himself, help this offense turn things around in 2019.
So my first thought was the classic too many cooks in the kitchen.
I align with that.
And there's the potential for this to turn into a Norv Turner and Pat Shurmur type of situation, where when you have too many ideas, too many people, and Kevin Stefanski feeling like there's someone that's way more qualified over his shoulder, and someone who has an incredibly great history with offense. I mean, a guy who was John Elway's backup quarterback, then offensive coordinator, and as a head coach, he won the Super Bowl. Gary Kubiak also had the #1 offense in the NFL with Matt Schaub as his quarterback as a part of the Houston Texans. And you feel like someone with that type of resume usually is the offensive coordinator and not an assistant to the offense or an advisor to the offense. But I was reminded by someone of Tom Moore. If you know Tom Moore, Vikings fans might recognize that name, that he was an offensive assistant head coach, or maybe just assistant head coach for the Vikings in the early 90s, 1990 to 1993. And he bounced around, offensive coordinator for different teams, was with the Indianapolis Colts for a while. And his most recent gig was with the Arizona Cardinals from 2013 to 2017 with Bruce Arians as the assistant head coach and offensive consultant. I did not realize that Tom Moore had been an offensive consultant for Bruce Arians in Arizona when they had some really good years there, especially the resurgence of Carson Palmer's career in Arizona. And I think if it wasn't the situation that we have, if it wasn't a first-time play caller with someone with such a big name and a big resume, if it was just someone else that we had heard of a lot less that had been around for a long time, we probably wouldn't talk a whole lot about it. It wouldn't be as, I don't want to say it's controversial, but notable and intriguing if it wasn't Gary Kubiak, someone that it looked like was going to be the Broncos offensive coordinator, and it also looked like had other interest around the league as an offensive coordinator, and then he ends up here as an assistant coach. But I think I've dialed back the heat a little bit on that too many cooks in the kitchen take after seeing that some other teams have guys in similar positions that we just don't really know or think about very often.
Well, I'm sitting in Judd's chair, so I feel like I should turn the heat up on my takes. I mean, this is a new position for me, but I'm not going to back off on the too many cooks thing just yet. I mean, we've seen the father-son combo. It seems like something Mike Zimmer's liked in the past, not necessarily something that's worked out here in Minnesota in the Zimmer tenure, but you know, when we heard Gary Kubiak's name come up for this job, and he was supposed to be in Jacksonville today to interview for their vacancy at OC. Obviously, that's not happening. But the buzz that you started to hear is like, okay, package deal. Clint Kubiak's going to come on as quarterbacks coach, and he wants to bring his guys with him. It almost seems like he's bringing his philosophy. I mean, granted, yes, this is all in the very premature stages. We don't exactly know what his role is going to be. But I just have a hard time believing that you have somebody with this much experience, 35-ish years somewhere in the league, and one of the most instinctive play callers throughout his tenure. I mean, that's what he's known for. I have a hard time believing that he's going to be coming into this job without some sort of say as to what his role will be more than just I'm advising the offense from the booth.
What I would really like to know, and I don't know that we'll get a straight answer on this, was whose decision was this?
Mhm.
Was it Kevin Stefanski saying, hey, if we have a chance to bring Kubiak in, and you don't know who knows each other, right? Like Clint Kubiak was on
here.
the staff, so he and Stefanski would know each other. So how well does he know Gary Kubiak? And if he said, I know Gary Kubiak really well, and we're on the same page offensive philosophy-wise, especially Kubiak's history running the zone schemes, which we talked about a lot last year that they should have been doing more often. Maybe he wants to pick his brain on that type of thing. And then then Mike Zimmer says, okay, great idea. Let's try to do it. Or is it Mike Zimmer saying, I don't really want to have anything to do with the offense, and I'm kind of nervous about a first-year play caller, and I really need more help around my quarterback that I don't trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how this came about, I'll be interested to find out what the story was in the background, because I think it makes a little bit of a difference for how we view it.
I think what you said, the latter portion there of Mike Zimmer being able to now focus on the defense, because he said he felt he had to get involved in the offense. And really how much that was at the end of the season after the firing of John DeFilippo and even before then, we don't really know. And I mean, yes, he sat in on meetings, he gave his input, but his input was simply run the ball more. I think that now that he has a guy like Gary Kubiak and somebody who has an impressive resume as a head coach, that he can trust this going forward, knowing, okay, I'm in a position where I can kind of absolve myself some of that responsibility. Go handle Kevin and go handle the offense. I'm going to take care of my bread and butter of this team, which is the defense. So that to me seems like it would make completely logical sense as to why he's here right now. But you could also see it in the same vein that Stefanski could be very cerebral about this and say, hey, look, I need some support on staff. There are pieces that are going right now. There are contracts that are up. I want to have that veteran voice. Who's my voice going to be? And maybe it is a guy like Gary Kubiak. Maybe it is Clint. Maybe their relationship that they formed when Clint was here from 2013 to 14 is strong enough that he knew what he was getting into by bringing Gary Kubiak on staff and bringing those other pieces from Denver, that's the identity he wants to form within this offense.
I love looking up former journeyman quarterbacks Wikipedias because there's always something that is wonderful in them. And with Gary Kubiak, it has in his Wikipedia his nickname in high school. He was apparently a multiple sports star, football, basketball, baseball, and track. Kubiak was. Yeah. And his nickname, you got to guess on Gary Kubiak's high school nickname? It's in his Wikipedia, so it must be important.
Maybe Coobs? Big Coobs?
Yes, Coob.
Oh,
that's one of the worst nicknames I've ever heard.
I mean, it's a play on his last name, though. I thought you were going to go with something wild.
Well, yeah, like, yeah. I mean, the
Coob,
the Punisher or something.
Yeah,
right?
something awful like that.
That would have been great.
So when we get to finally talk to him, you're going to be like, yo, Coobs. Well, that's how you're going to introduce yourself.
This would be like, hey, why is this in his wiki is what I want to know. Why is this in Wikipedia?
It must
they
be
called
important.
Courtney Court. Like, okay. I'm sure they did. Anyway,
they called Matthew Matt.
Wow, what a change. Although our friend Lindsey Brown, who works as a producer and does a hockey podcast, she calls me Call Me Maybe. Thanks, Lindsey.
It's a nice play on words.
So anyway, with that, I don't think Adam Thielen has a nickname. We'll call him Thiels when we bring him on next.
You can ask him about that.
Our first ever, I guess we'll have to ask him what his nickname is. Our first ever guest on the Purple Daily Show here on the all-new SKOR North on 1500 will be Adam Thielen when we come back, so keep it here.
This feels right. Let's pursue this further. SKOR North, Minnesota sports. Anytime, anywhere. SKORNorth.com.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans, Phil Mackey here, introducing you to the all-new SKOR North on 1500, where you'll find Purple Daily at noon, Matthew Coller 2 to 4, and Mackey and Jeb with Rami from 4 to 6. Over at SKORNorth.com, that's SKOR. In addition to great written content, you'll find some of the most entertaining local Minnesota sports podcasts. Purple Podcast, Raised by Wolves, Myron Metcalf on Hoops, Touch 'em All, Royce Unchained, and plenty more. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all at SKOR North. Minnesota sports, anytime, anywhere. Phil Mackey here, and I want to tell you about TCL, one of the world's best-selling and America's fastest-growing TV brands. They just launched a new lineup of award-winning 4K Roku TVs to deliver the best sports, the most movies and TV shows, and thousands of streaming channels directly to your living room. We have TCL TVs in the broadcast.
I can do it.
Watch them every day. Sports, news, the occasional wrestling pay-per-view. Hey, it's research and development. What can I say? These are awesome TVs. TCL's personalized home screen makes it super easy to customize your TCL TV to fit the way you watch. With the tap of a button, I can bounce between sports and news channels, cable, satellite, streaming channels, all right at your fingertips. Movie channels, networks, you name it. It's never been easier to binge watch what you want, when you want. TCL TVs give you excellent picture quality, sleek design, and stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. TCL, America's fastest growing TV brand, is available at major retailers everywhere. Learn more at TCLUSA.com.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
Please be done.
over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Guys, when we were in our 20s, we never had to worry about spontaneity. And now that we've gotten older, the spontaneity has been replaced with pills and injections. We're just trying to keep that intimacy, but it's taking away from the spontaneity. At Plymouth Regenerative Care, we now offer GainsWave, which uses sound waves to non-invasively treat this issue, with no need for pills or injections. Just give us a call at 763-325-4998. That's 763-325-4998.
TCL is a proud sponsor of the SKOR North Studios.
Every single time something started to go the wrong way for the Timberwolves, Tom Thibodeau threw a fit on the sidelines, was berating players, berating officials. And if you're a player, you look over there and there's this negative energy you can't help but feel even from the other end of the court. And so at the very least, Ryan Saunders brought positive energy and an encouraging style to the bench, and that's super important.
Britt Robson of The Athletic wrote a lengthy piece. A very minor but revealing tidbit about Tibbs' approach concerns the lasagna dinner Taylor holds for the entire team at the end of every preseason training camp. It is a cherished get-together. Thibodeau has been a no-show at these gatherings. You lost games, well, that's bad. You lost players, that's bad. But when you didn't show up for the damn lasagna dinner, that was it.
You can find more from the SKOR North TCL studios on demand at SKORNorth.com. TCL, America's fastest growing TV brand. Hot takes, North cool. SKORNorth.com.
Second down and 4, little shoulder fake. Here's Thielen wide open. Thielen, touchdown, Minnesota. Here's Thielen, goodbye. Touchdown, no flags, and the Vikings keeping pace. How about the day for Adam Thielen?
All right, the first ever guest on the Purple Daily Show, our new launch today from the all-new SKOR North on 1500. That is what we're called now, Matthew Coller and Courtney Cronin. You can listen in, stream at skornorth.com, or check out all the articles that Judd and I and others have written there on the Minnesota Vikings and more. And joining us, the first guest, Adam Thielen, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. Adam, what's going on?
Geez, you guys are big time now. Own shows. This is quite the deal.
I know. We did all these great stories on this wide receiver from Mankato and how he made it. And there were long features. It was great.
That's what you gotta do nowadays, huh? To get a little better gig.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Exactly. Adam, I have an important question for you to start with. Gary Kubiak, his nickname in high school was Koob. A, could you find a worse nickname for anyone? And B, do you have a nickname that we don't know about?
I don't know. I think I like Koob. I think that's a good nickname. And I can go back to high school days. My nickname, they used to call me T-Money. And now they just call me T, so it must not be money anymore.
Okay, so every time you guys run like outside zone, the crowd can go Koobs.
Exactly.
Like his contribution.
Or like play action pass. I think that's so.
Hey,
that could be good.
Answer me this, Adam. Tell me why the play action passes work so well for Kirk Cousins, because I know that this is something that Mike Zimmer has talked about a lot. And when it comes to Gary Kubiak, the zone running, the play action, all those things, that's, I would assume, one of the reasons that he's here is because his offenses have had so much success with that stuff throughout the years.
Well, I think it, there's a lot of things that go into that. Having success with play action, obviously you have to have a good running back and a good running game. And when you have a guy like Dalvin Cook and his ability to make big plays, that's what makes it that believable, that play action pass believable, and it lets us as receivers get downfield and get one-on-one coverage because the backers are sucked up and they can't drop into coverage as much. So it's good all around as long as you're running the ball well and as long as you're patient and sticking to the run as well.
Adam, we've talked a lot the last 24 hours about Gary Kubiak and the pieces he's brought with him from Denver here, but last week, Kevin Stefanski named offensive coordinator on the full-time basis, now returning after 3 games as a play caller. First off, what was your reaction in terms of what you were talking about when we talked to you after the Bears game about maintaining some of that continuity in the offense? And what did you learn about Kevin as a play caller in kind of a limited sample size?
Well, number one, I'm super excited about really what Coach Zimmer and this management and team has done for our offense. Bringing in these guys, hiring Coach Stefanski as the offense coordinator. I think things are going in the right direction. Obviously, it's the off season and we have a long ways to go until next year. But in my opinion, I think things are moving in the right direction. And we, as players, have full trust in our coaches to make those decisions and to get the right guys in here to lead us. So, like I said, number one, really excited to work with these guys and really excited to see what Coach Stefanski does and what kind of offense he implements. Obviously, when you take over an offense with 3 games left to go in the season, you can't do a whole lot to it to make your own. So I thought he did a phenomenal job of doing the best he could, keeping us as players relaxed and confident and letting us play our game. So, like I said, just really excited to see what the future holds for this offense.
Adam, would you rather be involved or not involved when it comes to an offense and a game plan? Because I know that you and Stefan talked a lot about how Pat Shurmur had sort of a democratic process more than maybe other coaches, and he kept everyone involved and they had a say. I mean, I know that you're a bright player and you know the game really well. Would you rather have your offensive coordinator come to you and say, hey, what do you think about this route combination or this play or that play? Or would you rather just do your job?
I'd rather just do my job. Obviously, I do tend to give my input on certain things, but at the same time, I don't know enough about the offensive systems and things like that to help with the game plan. I just need to make sure I focus on my individual job and do that to the best of my ability. This league is hard enough to win on a consistent basis that you have a lot to work on and to focus on yourself. But yeah, I think it's always great to have good communication between your players and your quarterback and your offensive coordinator to say, hey, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I think we can do to exploit them, and then let them take it for how they want to, and maybe they'll do some things to get that play in.
Now that you have had a little bit of time to decompress from the season, maybe look back at some of the things that went well, some of the things that didn't. When we talk about the chemistry between a quarterback and his wide receivers and in a first-year quarterback that you've gotten to work with in Kirk, do you think that maybe we overestimated just how long that process really takes? Is that because that's something that we talked about all last season, from the time that you guys went down to Atlanta to working at it through OTAs, minicamp, training camp, and throughout the season? I guess, where does that chemistry stand now, and how do you continue to build upon that in what seems like it could be quite a long process?
Yeah, I don't think people understand how long it takes to get on the same pages with receiver, quarterback, offensive coordinator. There's just so many things that lead into having confidence, being on the same page. There's always different situations that come up in different games that you have to talk about and adjust, and then it's kind of in the memory bank. So I think one of the most encouraging things and things that I talked about it after the season was over is that, hey, we get to go into this offseason and we get to kind of use what we learned from last season, and we get to apply it and really take advantage of this offseason with OTAs and training camp and mini camp and all those things. We get to take advantage of those opportunities to really improve on where we're at. I think it was consistent. We consistently grew as a group, getting on the same page, and now we have to make sure that we take that and we continue to build and probably build at a faster pace now that he's been here for a while. And I think with Coach Stefanski being here too, and implementing his offense, I think we can grow a little faster and hopefully take that next step.
Matthew Coller, Courtney Cronin, Adam Thielen joining us on the all-new SKOR North here on 1500, our first day, our first guest. Adam, my wife and I took her great aunt to the Minnesota History Museum, and we were talking as we were like having lunch there. And she said, "Did you see the Vikings game where the receiver and quarterback yelled at each other?" And I said, "Yes, I did see that." And so my great aunt-in-law wants to know that everything is okay with you and Kirk. I'm kidding about that, but did you hear from all of Detroit Lakes after that happened?
I've heard it every day since the season is over. From everyone you can imagine. So every time I go somewhere, it's like, "Hey, what was the deal with that?" The funny thing is people just, as fans, they just don't understand how much we put into this game, how much effort and what we're doing right now this offseason to really, play for those games that we were able to play in, towards the end of the season last year. And when you put all those into perspective and you think about how much work you put into it, how much time you put into it, how much energy, how much sacrifice you've, kind of put out there, that's when those emotions kind of come out, and that's why they come out. And I think it's a good thing. Honestly, it might not have looked good on TV or whatever, but it was actually a great conversation, and we actually learned from it and actually did some good things come out in that second half and go down and score. So, obviously it looks bad, and you have to be able to learn how to handle your emotions. But like I said, I just don't think people understand what goes into it and why we're emotional on the field.
Okay, so I can tell my great aunt that it's all right.
You can tell her that we're fine. So we'll be all right.
Adam, the last time we talked to you was that day after the Bears game. You weren't sure about the Pro Bowl at that time. Where do you stand on that? Are you going down to Florida next week?
Yeah, as of now, we're planning on going. We just had our second-born son, so he's doing good, and Mom is doing good. So it sounds like we're taking the family down there, and I'm excited to be able to play football again and be able to get into that again, which will be really fun, and just be able to hang out and spend some time with some guys around the league that I have a lot of respect for, and it's always good to be around your peers.
What's the best part of that weekend for a guy like you, for wide receivers? I mean, are you guys like talking technique? I mean, I know it's it's football, but it's a chance for you to kick back a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure guys are always competitive, taking things seriously, but for you, I mean, what do you go into that weekend looking for?
Well, I think I learned a lot last year just about why these guys are at this game. So you go to these practices, you expect these superstars, these big name guys to, maybe be just kind of complacent or, I've already made it. I've been doing this for a long time. It is what it is. But then you see these guys that are taking the walkthrough super serious. A guy like Drew Brees is going through all his reads, his progression, trying to, get on page with some of the receivers and the other quarterbacks that are there trying to get on the same page with the receivers. Like, that's why these guys are where they're at, because they continually are trying to get better. They're continually trying to work to help their team win and help them, get better individually. So it was really cool learning experience, and hopefully I can just take advantage of my time down there again this year and be able to spend some time with the family, which is always great.
So, Adam, you mentioned that you had your second child, so congratulations to you and the wife. Now you're like a grown-up. You got like the two kids. You got a fence, I would assume, at the house, right? Picket style, probably. You got a full-time job. I guess how has it changed you now to be a parent, now a multiple parent?
Yeah, it definitely has changed me. It just makes you realize how important the little things are in life. And obviously I care a ton about my job and put a lot into it. But at the same time, my family is everything to me, and the support I've received from them is really the reason why I'm where I'm at and why I'm able to do what I do. I mean, my wife is unbelievable. The sacrifices she makes, the time that she puts as a full-time mother and still be able to, really care to my needs during the season when I don't have any energy and I'm pretty tired and beat up. It's really amazing. And people don't see that. They don't see the things behind the scenes of what goes into, helping us as players do what we do on the field. Obviously, you do the things at practice, but at home is so crucial to your success. And, she's obviously a huge part of that. And then just, seeing seeing my son now, he's almost 2.5, seeing him run around and understand things and miss going to games now that we're done. It's just a really cool feeling to have him in that stage. And I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to have that and to have that pushing me.
All right, T Money. Well, thank you for coming on. Can I call you T Money now? Is that good? We good with that?
Yeah, I like that. I haven't heard that in a long time.
All right, Adam. Well, thank you for coming on. I think you've taken your first step toward winning your second Media Good Guy award by doing this. I think it was a plea for votes for next year already from you, and we see right through you from that. But thank you for taking the time and being our first ever guest here on the Purple Daily Show. Yeah, I'm a little frustrated still with losing that trophy. So, I'm going to be doing my best. I'm going to try to be a little nicer to Thomason and some other guys. So, I'll try. I'll be working on that this season. I'm not going to make a further comment about that. I'll just leave it right there. So, Adam, no, we really appreciate the time, Adam, and we will see you soon. All right, take care, guys.
Thanks, Adam.
Adam Thielen, Minnesota Vikings wide receiver, joining us there on the first ever Purple Daily Show on the all-new SKOR North on 1500, our first day.
Well, I mean, I think that let's dial this back a second. Our first guest on Purple Live back in December, November was Anthony Harris.
Yes.
Anthony Harris got a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Adam Thielen deserves a trophy for this. No?
He's going to get a new contract this offseason. He'll be all right. Well, we appreciate him. And
it's good stuff.
Minnesota Vikings PR for helping us set that up to kick us off on the right note. So we've got a lot of things to talk about. If you missed any of that interview with Adam Thielen, it will be online at skornorth.com. That is our new website, SKOR North.com. You can find any of these shows, Purple Daily, Mackie and Judd with Rami, Matthew Coller, SKOR North Live with Matthew Coller. That's going to be from 2 to 4 today as well. It's weird, like introducing my own show with my name. I'll have to work on that.
You want me just to handle that one from now on?
Yeah, could you? Sure. And also, if you have a computer or a phone or walk by any type of screen, you can also access us. Twitter, Facebook,
us. This is
YouTube.
Nice.
What are we on? YouTube, Facebook, everything?
Yeah.
MySpace, LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
All right. Well,
MySpace doesn't exist unless you're Bill Belichick.
If you have any type of internet connection, you can reach us. SKORNorth.com to check out any of that Adam Thielen interview. It will be up there shortly, and we will come back. And I